Hey, welcome back to the Hyperstamper YouTube channel. It's Laura, and I'm happy to be back showing you some journals after the Christmas break. This one here is a beautiful antique book here called Explaining Why, a children's school book. And I've left the cover pretty much on its own. It was spectacular just the way it was. Very simple, very beautiful. This book was called Explaining Why, and it's got these lovely birds, 3 birds on a wire and another bird flying in. I've expanded the spine from the original width, and it's got the original back on there, and I've put a pretty bangle here with vintage beads and some corner protectors there. And on the inside of this lovely book, I have put this I was going to tear this book apart and decided to put it in just the way it was. It would be a shame to tear it apart. It is from 1890, and it's called the Constitution of the Sons of England Benevolent Society. So just a fun little read there. You can do whatever you like with that, use it in collages or art, or just keep it as is. It's pretty cool for a 130-year-old book. And then the original first pages of the book here. And I've got some really fun clusters in here, some tea-dyed paper, but the rest is all completely authentic antique and vintage paper. I have no photocopies, no fakes, no commercial papers, just the real McCoy. So if that's your sort of thing, you will love this. I've got the original Beacons Lodge Officer's Roll page here, and that's beautiful, done with the quill pen and ink. A lovely children's book page here. Look how fun. This is a vintage pattern from a cross-stitch book, which I think I left it alone. I thought it was beautiful. Somebody may want to do some artwork on there or do their own collaging, but you can journal right over top of that. Another wonderful children's book pages from this original book. And here's that 1951 page. On the other side, the P's stood for present. So they took the summer off here, you can see, and then they were present. We've got the names down here. I just love it. Beacon Lodge. This is a vintage botanical book, and this would have been one of the pages on roses. I love them. I wish they were scratch and sniff. That would be so fun. And just a little bit of vintage doily in here, and another fun antique book page cluster. Another Boys and Girls of Today page here from another kind of children's book. And this is very special because this came from 1955 stamp collector's book, and so these are all 1955 and older. So we've got Queen Victoria stamps here, a lot of Queen Elizabeth, and then on the other page it's a different country. But I thought that was really cool. You get lots of stamps there, and you can flip them up, which is really quite fun. Look at that, how fun. They're all hinged. And on this little corner page, I've got a pretty illustration here from a children's book. Another one here that I've attached some antique paper to the back of, so you can journal on there. An vintage music sheet there, the writing song. And this is from the 1890s, early 1890s, and this is from Demarest's Family Magazine. Just a really cool full page article or page here. Look at how fun that is. That would have been very exotic from lands afar. And then over here, I made another little collage from a sewing book on buttons, some antique paper up here for a hidden journaling spot, and a 1950s Pearl Shop receipt. And look at this pretty little children's illustration here, and I put some more antique paper on the back to journal on. This is a very old map here, and this one is of Scotland on this side. And then over here we have Leith. I want to say this is probably Ireland on this side, and then I could be wrong. Some British Isles here and here. I love it. Over here, this little pocket here was pulled out of a 1920s needlework magazine. It's absolutely spectacular. And then I made this little booklet with a little vintage 1950s playing card here, mini playing cards, some 1930s Monopoly money, and just a really cute little booklet. You can put little treasures in there as well. So that's sweet. That's tucked into there. A 1938 Paris, France almanac page, and that's double-sided. Really fun to look at the illustrations in there. The pocket I made out of a children's book page, 3 little pigs. And then back here is a page from the vintage book on fairies. which is kind of cool. The Fairy and the Woodman. This is a 1940s piece of cross stitch on cotton. It's very soft and beautiful, so I made that into a pocket. And then another little booklet here. Or sorry, not a booklet, just a children's book page is what I meant to say. But look at the beautiful colors on that. Isn't that pretty? And I just thought that was fun to keep just as it was. And again, for people who do their own artwork in these journals, you can use the bright colors in that. And look at more stamps from the 50s and older. This one here is very, very old. It's just really cool, really, really cool. Another wonderful children's book page here, color. And then I've hand stamped some images on these tea-dyed paper. And this is another little booklet I made here of antique book scraps. Look at how cool that is, 1953. Nito Pepito, man. Little vintage card here, vintage playing card, Ace of Clubs. And here is an antique postcard. Look at how beautiful this one is. I love it. That is a European card. And this one is from 1905. That is awesome. That's a really good one. And this is a lovely page, flying horse here. What's that called, a Pegasus? I forget. And I made that pocket there out of a 1920s book page. This here is a early 1900s piano player roll piece of paper. It's a bit brittle, it may tear, and if it does, just glue it back in or take the bits out and tuck them into another tuck spot. Beautiful full color magazine or book page here. Look at the color on that. It is absolutely spectacular. This is an antique book on fashions, medieval fashions, and it's got the original onion paper here, and it says Woman of the Time of Richard II, 1377 to 1399. That's not how old this is. This is early 1900s, but they're illustrating that fashion. Look at this pretty, the doll show. Oh, I actually have a client who collects dolls, so this would be really fun for her to take a look at. And then a sewing book page from the 50s. You can tell by the illustrations, how cool is that? And then over here, another little pocket, an antique book page journaling pocket. And over here is a photograph from the 1940s or 50s. I want to say 50s on this one. Look at the sweet little bonnet this little girl's wearing, but it looks like a whole whack of 8 little kids on a picnic table eating lollipops. Even mom's eating a lollipop over there. How sweet is that? It's another little pocket I made here, and that's a children's book page journaling tag on top of an antique backing from a photograph, which I love. And this here is from a magazine. This was from somebody in Massachusetts, Concord, Massachusetts, advertising this awesome Zenith radio. Look at that. That was pretty hip, and this is from a movie, Not as a Stranger, an advertisement in a magazine for that. I love that so much. It just warms my heart. And here's a very pretty vintage doily. Here, isn't that beautiful? I've just tucked that away into a 1923 French book pocket. And this is a little clip here that I've done on one of those old hair clips. Just some book pages and some old leather from a book from the 1900s. And then this is a little tiny card from Agnes. That's sweet, little kitty cat card. I love it. What a get well card. And that's mounted on top of a vintage recipe book page. And I'm sorry this is going so long. I haven't done one of these in a while, so I'm just really re-interested in everything. Some home ec pages here, another wonderful children's book page, and that's the end. It's on Etsy now, hyperstamper.etsy.com, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you soon.